Hey ho everyone, and welcome to this in-depth analysis of the Scarlet and Violet games of Ubers Premier League XII Week 7. Today with me is Ainzcrad.
Yo, what's up? I'm back.
Yeah, and me as always. Yeah, as I'm not too aware of the latest meta developments, so I might not be able to guess the sets correctly or make sense of what some of the Pokemon are running. But other than that, I should be pretty decently knowledgeable about this tier, and I hope we can bring you some good analysis, and maybe later in Louis and Taka will maybe join. Let's see. And we also don't need another detailed specification of what the tier is. We have already done that in the last Scarlet and Violet video. So if you're interested in that, go check that one out. And with that now settled, we can start discussing the first game. So between Aberforth and Frozoid.
Let's try to jump into the game.
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts about the particular matchup?
I would say those are fairly standard teams, more or less. So the most odd choices here are likely Kieran Black and Toxapex, but these ones are just represented a little less, but still decently viable mons in the right team constellation, and both of them can be threatening if positioned correctly.
Yeah, I pretty much agree. I think Aberforth's team is a little odd, considering the fact that he doesn't have a fairy and has loaded a bit of weakness to electric, like Miraidon being feared of the handle, while Frozo just loaded a very standard, good balance, and written across Meta's main, and Miraidon, and Ainzcrad, which likely Scarf, considering the team composition.
Yeah, so that one for speed control. I would also assume I'm actually not too sure about the sets of Necrozma Duskmane and Miraidon here. I mean, both of them could just be the standard sets of like Pivot and Defensive Dragon Dance for Necrozma Duskmane. But I could also see like a more offensive variant of Miraidon with like Life Orb as a wall breaker. But I'm also not sure if the team really needs that, seeing that Sashin is also a member.
Yeah, pretty much. I think it's more likely Pivot, because you kind of need a taunt shoes on this
Yeah.
to prevent the score from getting really out of control. Given the checks, stuff like Necrozma, Jaxation, Mightly, might add. So I think a Pivot set, as you mentioned, more likely. DD to Necrozma probably. It might be a faster set, because with a lot of speed investments, you can basically outspeed the primals, Ground and Miraidon, at +1, which could be just a huge thing, considering Aberforth is like the type to run the primals a lot.
So I believe this is more likely to be like a defensive Necrozma variant, because otherwise the options against Calyrex Ice of Frozoid would be very limited, and they would have a pretty hard time dealing with it, especially if it's positioned right and gets like the opportunity to do something late game.
It's also a possibility too. So, what do you think about jumping right into the game?
Yeah, that sounds good. So, leading off with the Ho-Oh, I'm not sure. I think this Ho-Oh is probably not unlikely to be a offensive variant, seeing that the defensive variant would just like cover the same Pokemon as Toxapex here. So something offensive would make more sense, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's more offensive. Probably some kind of attack investment substitute is an option. Though for first round, you're just way too scared of E-Drift. So you have to pivot out.
Yeah.
As well as seeing this damage is
Yeah.
insane.
That's specs, right?
Yeah, that's indeed specs. I had to calculate to be honest, but that's indeed specs damage. Revealing his item this early on
And
is massive.
the Tinglu is heavy duty boots, so it can't really recover the damage. So it won't be able to live another Draco Meteor. Already big predicament for Aber, because like there's pretty much nothing that can check the Mirado now. Every time it comes in, something is majorly threatened.
Yeah, that's true. You now lost your track making the game of sacks if it gets in, which is really tough to handle.
Yeah. So I believe the best option would maybe like Terry Farah, Ho, or Arceus Ground to be able to somewhat keep the Miraidon in check. I believe that will be a necessary action down the line. Yeah, Miraidon just pivoting, taking the damage despite knowing that it's likely Rocky Helmet.
Yeah, though with the fold switch, which seems kind of odd. Well, Drake was pretty much free at the point, and you kind of want to kill to prevent Spike's damage from coming up. Though able with just a decent switch in Ho-Ho.
Substitute. That's interesting.
And directly revealing Power Jam on Arceus.
So does it mean it's a calm mindset? I'm pretty sure it does mean that, right?
I think it might be T-Wave, because otherwise Station can be kind of annoying.
Yeah.
But as attack for Ho-Ho, pretty massive. Though that means it's walled by any steel type,
Yeah.
which Aber unfortunately doesn't have.
Yeah. But luckily it does get the burn and is also faster. So is it full speed? I believe Arceus are like have very little investment to outspeed like modest Kyogre, which is only slightly slower than, which has the same base speed as Ho, so this must be full speed, right? Full
Yeah,
speed
probably.
Jolly.
Yeah, probably. Given the damage only doing 32, I think it's Jolly indeed.
Still pretty risky play, I'd say, because you don't know what speed the opposing Arceus has, and that could just lose you the Ho-Oh. Arceus have been running more speed lately, because these wars between the different Arceus forms facing off against each other, every speed point makes so much of a difference. I've seen most of them running like 56 speed EVs. Not sure if that outspeeds Ho, though.
I think that hits 290, though in Aber's case, the sacrifice of last turn revealed that Arceus is slower, meaning it's probably like around 290. Meaning Substitute's just a pretty safe play on aggressive judgments, aggressive T-Wave, stuff like that.
Yeah. That also gives Aberforth pretty great info, and that just killed. Yeah, I mean it's offensive, so that was to be assumed.
Yeah.
It does give Aber pretty decent information about which about how he can position the Kyogre, maybe if it is also Jolly, but we'll see about that down the line. First of all, he has to deal with the Miraidon.
That's true. Though getting 2 Dragonons up as their electric, that looks like a demon right now.
Unless
given-
the Necrozma
Unless,
gets that.
indeed. Indeed. Though now the ogre comes in, just threatens water spout. Sacks of Arceus, which is kinda odd, I think. At that point. Because you already know it's Scarf, given the damage it did to Koraidon. And then also clicking U-turn onto like very likely specs. I think it was better there to just like abuse the sun and then at least pivot out into Necrozma. I mean Zacian, just to preserve HP. Because now you're dead to pretty much any chip that gets given.
Yeah, I'm also not sure if I like the pivot here into Miraidon, because if it has Baneful Bunker, the Miraidon is just dead, so it can't come in again.
Yeah, and you have to risk Draco hitting, which kind of sucks.
It doesn't have Baneful Bunker, and that is very unfortunate. I don't what? What? Did Aber predict switch into something else? Maybe.
I think it was a sack-off, because now that's a poison. And Archer's Crown doesn't break the remaining mons, while Toxapex helps you kill the Zacian. I mean the Koraidon on pivot, because your Scarf Ogre afterwards he doesn't have water resist, meaning Surf or Water Spout is doing massive damage to the remaining mons.
Main thing is, I mean, a Koraidon can only come in one more time. That's of course, and also set up the sun only one more time. That is of course a given. Does Zacian die to a surf at 87?
I will check real quick, because I'm not entirely sure from my head. Surf doesn't. The Origin Pulse has a roll that kills. And Origin is, to be sure, a 62.5% chance to kill with a spike up.
Yeah. Okay, considering the Tinglu being still up and healthy, I can see the sacrifice a bit more, because if the Arceus were to set up, the Tinglu could just whirlwind it away, phase it. I'm not sure what would have been better here, but seeing the sacrifice, the Arceus Grant was very likely a specially defensive set, because if it was physically defensive, I believe it would have had a pretty nice matchup into the setup of the other 3 physical attackers here, but this should also suffice, because on the Koraidon he can just come in with the Toxapex, block it, and then come in with Kyogre again and use Origin Pulse to get the win.
Yeah, indeed. I pretty much agree. I think the positioning just means that after Mist, which is massive to be noted, because it just pretty much means that you can't force out the Pex. If the Pex is that, there's no Rocky Helmet, meaning Koraidon can click low kick for pretty much free. Though, as it turns out, now it just dies to Rocky Helmet. The Cosmo gets in, does his stuff. Either ups for Toxic, because you still have to beat at +1.
Oh yeah,
And
not risking the haze, of course.
yeah.
Now Origin Pulse. It should still be faster, right? Yeah. Origin Pulse 1 hits. And does the roll knock it out? Yes. What was the roll?
62.5%. 40% chance to kill.
Yeah, alright, that's still like 40% chance, considering the accuracy, also including the Necrozma it had to hit as well. But yeah, pretty interesting game. I for sure thought that Abel would be the underdog here in this matchup, seeing that Frozoid's team is one more balanced out and more standard by the book.
Yeah, indeed. I think matchup-wise, I think it was more favored towards Frozoid, for sure, thanks to the specs Maranon. But I think it was pretty well played from Aber's side.
Yeah,
Also
of course.
risking the turret ground on the crossbar, just meaning covering turret fire as an option. Because if in that position, if you get the kill, you just pretty much win the game. Which I think was worth it to risk. And getting towards this end game, making it this way. Gotta say the Draco miss is really unfortunate from Frozoid's side.
Yeah,
Just
definitely.
not having the option to click Draco again. Because at that point you're 14%, meaning you can still switch him once on spikes.
I'm a bit curious what the Toxpack set is though, because having
Yeah.
Baneful Bunker would usually be good choice.
If I had to guess, I think it's Toxic spikes, recover haze.
Yeah, that would make sense, and also gives it more utility. The one of the sets which was pretty popular, at least before the second DLC drop, was Toxic, Baneful Bunker, Poison Jab, and Recover. But that of course isn't played anymore. Yeah, but your set idea makes most sense, I think.
Yeah.
Do you think the substitute Ho-Oh was supposed to be for?
I think it's supposed to be used as a way of abusing grounds like Team Lu. As well as like stuff like Necrozma's main, defensive Arceus, CM Arceus in particular, if it's SV. So Ho-Oh just sits on it and isn't as prone to status, which other types of Ho-Oh are.
Thing is, if I do think of like Arceus Ground or something like that, it couldn't really keep up with the power jam. I feel like Whirlwind would be still better in most situations. Being able to block the status moves is like good and all, but what do you do after that? Maybe that is just because of the matchup, but it also didn't do too much damage to the Arceus.
Yeah, that's true. I just think in particular like stuff like Arceus Fair that doesn't run power gem, Necrozma opposing Ho-Ho's, just being free to set it up and then getting a kill in exchange is pretty much why you run it, I think.
Yeah, maybe it was Whirlwind last move that could also be.
I think it's Brave Bird, Sacred Fire, Roost. I think.
Yeah,
Push one
it
to
only
copy.
has recover this generation, but yeah, that would also make sense. Um, But anyways, we can't really know for sure. So,
Yeah.
do you have anything else to add to this game, or shall we move on to the next one?
I think it's great to move on to the next one.
Alright. Next up, we have Skyview versus Lasen. I believe, has Lasen played SV in this UPL 12 before?
I think UPL not, though he has played in BLT.
Alright.
Other tours. I think he also played in PTPL. In SV Ubers, though, as you mentioned, not in this UPL.
Yeah.
So, how surprising. do you think this matchup is? Seeing a DOA on the screen as well as the Zamazenta.
Yeah, I was about to say the more unusual one is definitely the Zamazenta. Notoriously useless. The little brother of Zacian with no real use cases, at least in Ubers. I've heard it does pretty well in VGC, but here it is just too slow. The bulk is insufficient. Seeing Miraidon running around on pretty much every team as like a special mon, forcing momentum loss. So you would usually just run Zamazenta if you like expect a heavily physical based team of on the opponent's side. It's like pretty good against King Gambit, I believe. I mean, it also is pretty nice against Zacian, and Arceus normal is it covers pretty well too, I believe.
Yeah.
Question: what kind of set it might be running is also going through my mind, because seeing the Clamora, this is of course like a hyper offense team, so it can't be too passive. I believe one set I was shown like before the UPL even was like rest, body press, Stone Edge, and Sleep Talk.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I think it's tough. I'm personally a fan of some sets, so I'm kind of biased. But I think it's like Iron Defense can really get out of control into physically offensive teams. And Stone Edge substitute just helping you get going pretty much.
Oh yeah, I think it was substitute, not Sleep Talk. Yeah. Question also is the Zacian really worth the opportunity cost of like running another Pokemon like believe Calyrex Eyes would also be also usually pretty nice on these kind of Glimmer teams.
That's true, for sure. I think on this team in particular, because I'm also on the prep side of this, so we'll kind of keep it brief, but I think going into this game, we expected Lasen to run any type of offense, meaning Zamazenta is a really good pick because of the speed tier it has and being able to abuse physical offense with stuff like E-Killer, just countering it, forcing it to turn, meaning you have a better position into the offense matchup.
Yeah. I believe the Deoxys attack is a suicide lead as well, so two hyper offense teams facing off. And I am pretty familiar with Glimmer teams, since that's the structure I like to run the most. So I also know that Glimmer, I mean, it loses to Deoxys speed, but it should be fine into Deoxys attack if it runs the right side, of course, because a Mud Shot can break the sash and lower its speed. So it is forced. I'm not sure. Does Glamora full speed at speed Deoxys attack after one drop? I think it does, right?
I think it does, because Glamour is like 298 and DOA is like 4 or 5, so I think you do.
Yeah.
I will check.
Can just check.
Yeah, you outspeed at -1.
Okay. Yeah, so it is forced to E-speed if it wants to break, if it wants to take the Glimmer out, because of course it also runs a sash, and at that point it gets a Toxic Spike out, and thusly it has pretty much accomplished its value as a suicide lead.
Pretty much.
Yeah. and it's pretty much this interaction is pretty much forced. So if you want to play around it, Larsen would have to lead something else, like Miraidon or Landorus. But Miraidon would not like to get hit by a Mudshot, even if it does run Taunt. Landorus, I also think. I mean, Landorus could be pretty nice if it has Taunt as well, because it is faster than the Glamora and can hinder it from setting up. But I believe it is usually around either full first death, even with Taunt, or like Scarf, and in that case it doesn't have Taunt. So,
Yep.
the specific set that would beat Glamora isn't really something you would usually see.
Yeah, true. Pretty much what you mentioned with Landorus, same with Glamora. Pretty much agree.
So what I'm also wondering about a bit here is what the Landorus purpose on Larsen's team is here. I mean, it's probably a pretty similar purpose to the Zamazenta on Skyview's team, like somewhat of a defensive backbone. I can't talk. Also able to pivot around and able to distribute the other hazard you don't have on the Oxus.
Yeah, pretty much. I think on this team in particular, it's just like as a way to soft check stuff like Zacian as the Koraidon and use its great pivoting ability to U-turn into something like from Koraidon, pivot into like a fairy, I mean, pivot into like Zacian, and then pivot into Miraidon to get things going, pretty much.
So what's pretty noteworthy about this matchup is that Larsen really needs to have the Miraidon put in a lot of work. Otherwise, the endgame against Zamazenta does look pretty grim, seeing 4 other physical attackers. So if the Zamazenta does have iron defense, there is pretty much nothing to stop it. If there's like no taunt scale shot Koraidon, of course. But that could also very well be Scarf. But let's just hear. Do you have anything else to add to the analysis of the team preview?
I'm personally done. I'm ready to jump into the game.
Yeah. Do you
Big scared. Yeah.
have any idea what the Koraidon lead here accomplishes? Because I personally don't have any.
It's about to reveal itself, so I will spoil it real quick. It's Chorscarf Koraidon on HO. So basically, it wants to U-turn, break the sash, and then pivot into something else to take the head for it.
Alright.
So just as he does that, I screamed watching it, seeing it counter.
Yeah, I don't agree with this at all, because even if it wouldn't have run counter, like the hit something else would have taken, and the hazard would have not been great. After the Zacian comes in into like a psycho boost, it can set up a spike and or maybe even taunt it to prevent it from setting up on its face. So I don't think this was the right call at all, and the Glamora lead would have won into the Deoxys and also into anything else.
Yeah, I
No.
pretty much think similarly, though I think like I can kind of get why he wants to preserve it. Because if you keep Glim just around in case, you can still use it as a threat for other stuff and still slow things down. So that counter was huge from Lasen predicting the switch and pretty much abusing it.
I don't understand why the second power gem came here.
Probably predicting Terra. I think predicting Terra or predicting Landorus. Do I think it's a bit aggressive? A bit too aggressive?
I think the second mudshot would have been better here regardless. Seeing the taunt, you know that it isn't like a double dancer set, so it is immediately less threatening in that regard. And yeah, if the Zacian comes in or the Koraidon, you already lower the speed and are able to set up after the taunt wears off.
Yeah.
And even in case of Terra, you wouldn't have. Terra would have been a really bad play by Lasen here, risking the Miraidon to just die, accomplishing very little and being in a bad situation afterward. Because what would it have done if it were to Terra? I mean, it would have U-turned out and set up a layer of toxic spikes, or like it would have stayed in at -2 speed, being set up fodder to everything. And even if the Landorus came in here, it also wouldn't have really done anything, because if it was Scarf, the layer of toxic spike still comes up, and if it was defensive Rocky Helmet, you get up both a layer of spikes and toxic spikes, likely. So yeah, I don't agree with this one.
I think I can understand why. I just think like that's the reason why he pin jumped. Though I should mention it wasn't the safest play at this position.
Yeah. Oh, another thing, I'm pretty sure this is full special attack and not full HP, which is a little strange because that means that Cancer survive a scale shot from Koraidon, but that's probably a like adaptation, playing with the knowledge that it would be surviving a scale shot, leading the opponent to not even try that. So that's definitely interesting. Also, I usually run Dazzling Gleam, but Power Gem is also pretty nice, seeing where that hoe was around. Yeah.
Much.
Trailblaze.
Getting a boost, getting our T-spike up, and then proceeding to Gamer with the Zimazenta being faster than Koraidon.
Also, it is normal form, not the. Wait.
Yeah.
It is actually faster than Miraidon and Koraidon. That's interesting.
That's the entire reason why I think it's so decent, because you can just outspeed Force Terra. Mons that check it are like Terra Ghost mons, because you can't put a press them. But as you see, it just basically comes in and forces a kill into offense. With now Miraidon coming in, taking the kill, like you sack it off, whatever, get Koraidon back in, drop the kill, and go from there.
So, what I don't get is the Terra here. What?
It covers the play rough play. Because if you play roughs and you are on defense, you pretty much lose like 70% HP, I think. And then you pretty much just die to close combat Terra fighting, and from there you just lose. So to cover every play, just Terra firing, getting the boost going, and
Yeah.
then
Alright.
going for 1-1.
Alright. Scarf Groudon taking up the Mirada, going into Skyview's own Mirada, also pivot set. Yeah.
I got a note, no attack boost, meaning sessions pretty weak. Pretty sure lift playoff, and pretty much taking.
It's also, you also don't really see Zacian running player off anymore because it can't really fit it. It's seeing hover around, so it usually needs the needs wild charge to do anything, and also close combat for Necrozma Duskbane. So yeah, usually close combat, wild charge, and yeah, Behemoth Blade last, that was the name. Seeing Trailblaze, I believe this is like no sword stance. Yeah, either way.
Yeah.
It was pretty certain at this point that it wouldn't have play rough, and even if yeah, I think it would have killed. Yeah, it would have.
So just opting to take a kill with pivots, just pretty much killing it off, making it so you're now in a much better position. Forcing a play from Lasen side, going for Arceus, and pretty much doing nothing with it.
Yeah. Did Lasen Terra already? I don't think so, no.
I haven't seen it Terra yet. Going Corona, trying to force that.
Yeah, okay. So this means it's like either Terra Fire or Terra Ghost. Otherwise, I think if it was like Terra Fairy, the best play here would have been to Terra, in my opinion. But
I personally think it was always better to just Terra there, because you try to Draco. If you lose the tie, and you pretty much lose way too much value from the Terra. But Terra on Arceus doesn't matter at all. Even if it's maybe Ghost, you still lose this exchange. Pretty much seeing why losing the exchange.
Yeah, and now that is game here.
Yep.
Unless
right.
Yeah.
Right. Pretty much cleaning up, taking a kill, and pretty much ending the game in Skyview's favor.
Yeah, I don't agree with every play here, like I've already commented. But
yeah.
pretty nice game to watch, and also to see Summer Center being used. That's why I picked this game out. Yeah.
For sure, showing the power of the Summer Center.
Do you have anything else to add, or shall we move on to the next one?
I have nothing else to add, so let's jump to the next one.
Alright, Nunes versus Abriel, I believe the name is.
True.
Yeah.
Another interesting matchup, seeing the Necrozma Dawn Wings and the Arceus Fire.
Yeah. Those are two mons you don't really see. I'm not even sure how much they're used in Ubers, but yeah, the Necrozma Dawn Wings is pretty bad. It suffers both from opportunity cost because you can't run Necrozma Duskbane, and it just is completely outclassed by Lunala. The defensive ability of Shadow Shield is just so much better than Prison Armor with this typing.
Yep, that's true.
And I believe it's Lunala is also faster.
Yeah, true. It's 306, I think. Yeah. The only thing Necrozma Dawn Wings has that's a little bit stronger. That's the main difference between the two.
And the Photon Geyser also doesn't really add anything. to its arsenal. At least, yeah, not really anything meaningful. So I'm excited to see what this one does. Like, oh, hi FC.
Hi.
I'm here for a guest appearance.
Guest appearance, another one. What the host wits?
Yeah.
Oh, the host back.
So what do you think of this team preview, FC?
There's a Dawn Wings and a Fire CS. So Dawn Wings is not the worst mon in this game.
Really?
I mean, it looks like E-Turn sets up T-Spikes and the game ends, but I'm not entirely sure. I think I've watched this, but I don't remember it. It's a funny preview, though. I think it's just whose bike gets more kills and who gets hazards.
Yeah. That's probably what it comes down to. Do you have any idea what the sets of the Dawn Wings might be?
Normally it's like Trick Room, Meteor Beam. I want to say this one was Life Orb when I watched it, but I could be mixing it up. On preview, I would assume Trick Room because that's what you're supposed to use. But I don't think this game mattered for either team. So they were just kind of gaming a little bit.
Yeah. Hitting RSS ground, probably predicting the Miradon to come in. Seems.
Yeah, or just like lead against like lead Lando and then just start call minding or something.
Yeah. Also seems to be a defensive, physically defensive one, seeing the damage.
Yeah. I don't know why Dawn Wings came in, because it revealed special attacking. So normally you'd assume Calm Mind. But I guess it wasn't, or he just didn't want to take that trade and didn't want to Calm Mind up with Grancius.
Yeah.
But yeah, T-Spikes go up, and like everything gets hit by it. Which is, it's a big thing in this matchup. And then, yeah, it is Life Orb. Which, I don't know, I don't like that set. Okay, I don't know why he didn't do this the first time. Calm Mind just beats this. And it also beats all other 6 Abriel has. It happens. I don't know if it's Power Gem or Ice Beam. No, it's Ice Beam. So I really don't know why he did it. Yeah. At this point, I don't really know what you do as Abriel. I think, yeah, Tiago just recovers spams. The Blitz Burn kind of sucks here, but also like you should be fine.
Yeah.
I don't think anything kills it.
It doesn't. It doesn't.
Maybe Fire CS Flare Blitz and Sun will do enough. But I doubt it. So this should get like another kill here at least. Or this could be a Grass Solar Beam. It is Grass Solar Beam. Goodbye, Grancius.
That kills. Damn. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's Terra Life Orb, so it will do like 400 at neutral. And Fire CS is I don't remember what this Fire CS does.
Probably Flare Blitz to win.
It's Dragon Dance. Does Earthquake even kill?
Nope.
It would have been a roll probably, which is funny. Or not, I don't know.
It did something.
It did. It got 1 kill, which is pretty impressive, all things considered.
Yeah, that's true.
It doesn't really matter because Zacian will live that.
Yeah, though I think it was a choke and a half to just trick him there, because you just lose from there. All things considered. You could have just fought take the trade and then win with Zacian. At least attempt to.
I guess just because not all E-Turn are flamethrower, it's a speed tie either way in or out of Trick Room versus Sterilization, so like it doesn't really matter. But this one was Flamethrower, so yeah.
Yeah.
Because sometimes they're Toxic Blast.
So, definitely an interesting showcase of Pharasius and Dawn Wings.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't the most serious team, but it's offense with viable mons supporting them. So, you know, I think Dawn Wings is viable also. I think Pharasius was the weak one a bit there. But like all things considered, for a meme team when they're like well out of the tournament, I've seen worse. I've used worse. So in a situation like that, so yeah, it could have, in theory, been a bit closer if that Dawn Wings like got going a bit earlier, like instead of when it was first revealed going against CM Groundsius. But yeah, I mean it was a cool team either way.
Yeah. Right, then let's move on to the next one. Quinn versus, do you know that player's names? Is it her stories?
It's just stories on forums.
Alright.
Oh my god, this game gets me trauma back. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Who's Quinn? Yeah. So you got the Daxflun stall. I mean, it should just win on preview. Looking at this, because Ghostius is useless, Treads is useless, Ditto's useless because there's no regen. Koraidon, this might be the worst Koraidon matchup ever.
I mean,
yeah,
on
I don't know.
it looked so easy, but then she revealed her sets.
Yeah, I mean, the last two could do something together because Blissey can only do so much. But on preview, this looks very good for Quinn. If I had to say so.
Yeah, I agree. So also some pretty rare picks. Skeleditch is not seen as often as it used to be. Darkspawn is like meme pick, or have there been some meta revelations and it's now somewhat viable?
It's viable on stall. I think it's one of the worst-ish kind of stalls. Just because it's kind of fishy. Like fishing for Koraidon isn't a real term. There will be a Koraidon, but also like you can beat it with a lot of other stall mons, and I think the utility of Ho-Oh is like so much better than either of the first two mons.
Yeah. Also the Skarmory. What is the Skarmory's purpose over something like Corviknight, which is also the fog, with other Pokemon here being able to set up spikes even?
I don't know, to be honest. Like it could be just so Gliscor can run 3 attacks and like, or 3 different moves and like T-spikes, and then Claude can be rocks. Just so you get as many moves as possible on everything. It's there to beat Duskmane, because Duskmane would kind of 6-0 this otherwise with Terrifier. But I don't like it that much. I've seen Thief, which is funny. Itemless Thief to steal someone's boots. And then if they knock you with Duskmane, you steal something else's boots. But I don't know. I'm not a massive fan of it.
Yeah. And the Ghostius is also a curious choice. I don't think it is really that great, or does it also have like any recent successes?
I used it in World Cup. I mean, it's not terrible, but it's fishing for like no Ting Lu, unless it's like a lead rock set. Which it could be. I've seen builds like this where it's just like Healing Wish arc like sash treads, and then just life orb on everything. Which it could be. I don't remember this game.
Yeah, so let's just see how it plays out. Ghost is leading off against the Blissey. Taunt.
Yeah, so it is probably taunt rocks. That's interesting. Okay. That's a play that you can make. You are allowed to click that button. Why? I'm not entirely sure. Do you have some insight, Ainz?
I just got mad. That's the only thing I remember. I just got so mad when I saw that.
I mean, you don't really need Dirge in this matchup. Like, it's not the most useful thing ever.
But
you know, having
for nothing is
having 6 mons in a game generally tends to be a little bit better. Because I don't know. I assume this Ghostius just can't hit Blissey. Like, even though it's taunt, I assume it just can't touch it. Which means you can pivot Gliscor in on like a taunt or rocks, and then just
Yeah, I really wonder what the idea behind going Dirge here was. Probably.
I can check though.
Maybe thought it was Swords Dance Ghostius or Dragon Dance, which is like it could be. Like you just want to immediately block it and wisp and then deal with it later. But I don't know. I don't think I've seen Dragon Dance Ghostius since like the first week Arc came out.
Does it have did it get Poltergeist?
No, it has the Shadow Claw.
It also doesn't have Shadow Force anymore, right?
It doesn't, I think.
I can check real quick. No, it has Phantom Force, but it doesn't have Shadow Force anymore. So, yeah, it sticks to Shadow Claw. But I don't, to be completely honest with what this play was. It's funny though. It adds comedic value, so we take it.
So I believe the most likely idea maybe was that stories would be switching into Ditto to get up spikes, because there's like no hazard removal on Quinn's side, and the spikes in combination with the maybe knockoff from Ainzcrad could have done some work in the long term.
Not really, because the only things you'd ever knock are Skarma and Gliscor once its Toxic Orb is done.
Yeah.
So nothing would take the spikes either way. I mean, if you wanted to catch that and then just burn something, sure. But I feel like once the Ghostius taunts, it's gonna do something else first. Like it's gonna get rocks, or it's gonna attack the Skarma in front of it.
Yeah, if it had set up rocks, Quinn would have also just had to switch it out again.
Yeah, because it's not in any danger. So like, I don't know. But I mean, this is still winnable. Oh, it's this set. I hate this set. It doesn't do anything. Because this is Ho-Oh's tier. This is, I don't know. Like it in theory stops Ting Lu until you run out of recovers trying to dodge a Ruination.
Are we Taunt Will-O-Wisp stalling the Blissey? Amazing play right there.
I mean, it does run it out of seismic tosses because you have 32 taunts and it can't click anything else, but still. Button treads, that's also fair. I thought it would be sad. And then probably just Scarf Crad. Scarf Crad on? Or is that band damage? I actually don't know.
How much should it
Scarf
do?
doesn't make... It hits 16, which is kind of a lot for a dodge gun. Yeah, that's banded.
Yeah, alright.
Poor Dutchman, I feel insulted, bro.
Yeah, okay, so all of a sudden, Terra fighting close combat to it KOs that. So I feel like they might have wanted the Dirge at this point in time.
Yeah.
Draco. Yeah.
Yeah, this is water absorb for sure.
It could be unaware, but probably not. See, this is why I don't like teams without Hoa on stall. Because, like, you're just gonna get run over here. Because, like, unironically, Hoa is one of the better answers to ride on stall. Just because of regen and, like, scaring Terra. And it can rarely click Electro Drift because of Claw. So, I don't know.
So, what's the idea behind Balloon Kyogre?
It's better versus, like, DD Groundsius. Because DD Groundsius isn't super scared by Ditto, because it doesn't have the Earth Plate. That's about it, really. It's just better versus Groundsius.
Alright.
Yeah, and then Blissey is just gonna be forced to sit here doing nothing versus the Arceus. I feel like the Arceus should always be taunting. Because otherwise it's wasting moves without Blissey wasting side and toss. But it shouldn't matter too much.
Ainzcrad just coming in, forcing shit to come, because choice band from the damage.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, once you get it in on Blissey, with Gliscor not at 100, you're just getting a kill. If you Terra it.
Pretty much.
Yeah, and I assume there's no Terra Ghost. Because at a point in time, there was a Skeleton. Yeah, Gliscor is content to just sit here and waste time, because that's all it does. Yeah. Balloon Kyogre also does ignore spikes. Doesn't really help much here, but you know.
The big ogre does big tick and scares.
I Ice Beam freeze there personally and just win the game. But now they should get a kill if it tears.
I mean,
Or just okay. Spamming U-turn is reasonable.
Because now you force a kill Terra.
Yeah.
Or just this damage.
Yeah, I thought it might have solar beamed there or something, but that was fine as well. Because yeah, like there's no threat to not attack at this point because of how low everything is. Like Quinn has to be the one making plays, but the issue is the plays don't get you enough at this point.
Yeah, I also
Like,
don't really know what the win condition here would be with like both Miraidon and Arceus running taunt and the Coridon doing so much damage.
Yeah, the win con is running them out of moves, which can happen. Also, if it's Poison Jab Clodsire, when Arceus inevitably has to stay in on it to do something, you can fish for Poison, which will speed things up a lot. This matchup, it's harder once you know the bets, like Dan on preview, because it's Ban Kurai and Double Taunt. But it's not unwinnable, I don't think.
Yeah.
But I think it's being hindered by the fact that I don't think this stall is particularly good.
I think with Ho over Skarmory and maybe not sacking the Skeledirge, this would have looked much different.
Yeah, I mean, Ho over Skarm is better in this matchup, but overall it's way worse into DD and DM. But it's still playable, at least.
What else
which is
would you
fine.
Just said?
I don't use the first two mons on stall.
All right,
I don't think I think they're too specific. and too passive. Like I think like Dondozo or like Arceus especially have way more merit. But yeah, close combat. How much did that do to Skarm? 75?
Yeah. That's so
That's-
much.
That's insane.
Choice band Koraidon is a monster. I don't know why it isn't used more. It always...
It's too slow. That's the issue. Like it's so good for stat, but it's not fast enough. But
Yeah.
it like obliterates stall for the most part, which is terrifying.
Pretty much. And now it just pretty much cleans up the game.
Yeah. Struggled in 20.
That's amazing. The Blissey also can't do anything against the taunt.
2 drifts also just drops it here. Drift does like 30-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and then taunt just to be sure, and then Treads will clean it up with Earthquake. There it goes, just in case.
Yeah. So interesting how that played out is how I would describe that game. Seeing the team
Yeah.
preview.
Yeah, I mean, the sets were pretty well equipped for stall. So Quinn had to be the one making the plays. But I don't know. I feel like to start a stall game, normally you can just kind of sit back and see what happens.
Yeah.
Like you could have just like led Gliscor and click protect and just just sat around for like 30 turns, clicking seismic toss on font and like going between Glisk and Blissey, just to waste some time and then force a reaction. But
yeah.
I don't know. There were like 5 months dead 2 turns in, so.
The situation in general is pretty dire because what makes stall so great is that it usually just can win by playing reactively, just reacting to what the opponent does and playing accordingly. But the offensive team usually has to do some proactive efforts and predict and stuff to get the upper hand. But this time it was the other way around. So yeah, it was really an uphill battle, especially after that turn 2 play with the Skeledirge.
Yeah, I mean it was well played by Stories, like to take nothing away there.
Yeah, of course.
Like you still have to, even if you have a good stall matchup, you have to execute properly. Stall is one of the easier playstyles to choke verse, I think. Because if you let one thing go too early, you can very quickly like spiral out of control with just not having enough pieces to break.
Yeah. Also, in general, pretty interesting choice of Ditto, Arceus Ghost, and Ainzcrad. I mean, Ainzcrad's probably not that much, but those are also less represented mons. But did show a pretty well niche here, at least Arceus and Ainzcrad. And
yeah, like Ditto is kind of hard to use. I think, funnily enough, it is the best on offense, like where it is here, just because offense is prone to losing to other offense. So if you just slap a Ditto on there, it might work out for you.
Yeah, and so we do have one last game to talk about. I looked through a few of the replays while we were talking, and this one did look pretty interesting. Also later down the line with some of the sets revealed. So the most interesting Pokemon here are the one that immediately jumps into one's eyes is of course the Excadrill, which is not used in SV Ubers at all, as far as I know.
No. There's something called iron treads, so
which does
that
everything
is
better in this case.
yeah. I think on the special side, Excadrill is actually like very marginally more bulky, but I don't think this is max for death. I assume if anything, this is like Swords Dance. It could just be a rocks setter as well, but I'd assume like Swords Dance with maybe like rocks, spin, earthquake. They won't bring any flying types trust, being the logic. But I don't know.
Is it even better, especially defensively, if the treads is Spadef boost quark drive?
Not in terrain, no, but just naturally.
Yeah, alright.
Yeah, I did those calcs a couple of days ago, but in terrain it becomes completely irrelevant.
I also don't really know what the Excadrill here can gain out of Mold Breaker, since there's not really any Levitate Mons used.
Yeah, like Guillotine is okay. It's niche, but viable. I think just like max offensive Giratina is pretty good actually. But I don't know. Maybe they're trying to catch the Hattery, trying to block rocks.
Yeah.
I think that who's the opponent? Louis. I think this game mattered for their team. So this wasn't a meme. Like he actually would have to believe in Excadrill here. And my best guess is that it's Swords Dance.
Yeah. So, what do you think the Ho-Oh and Necrozma sets are? I mean, the Necrozma Louis team is very likely like offensive Dragon Dance or Trick Room Swords Dance, because no, Trick Room Swords Dance probably wouldn't make sense on a webs team. Now that I think of it.
People have used Trick Room Kali Ice on webs, but I don't think NDM because I think it's a little too fast for that. I think there's a high chance it's Iron Defense, Calm Mind, Sword Power because it's Louis, and he has used that set. If not, it's probably just Dragon Dance.
Yeah, and I think the Ho-Oh might very well be a defensive variant here.
It is, yes. This is my team.
Okay.
Ains, didn't I use this versus you?
Which game?
The myJava's team in World Cup. I think I used this version versus you.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so they the Vish were already in, so they're like just pass something fun. So I gave myJava this team. It's strong, but yeah, it's Fizz FOO.
Yeah, then let's see how this plays out. Muradon probably wanting to taunt. Or it is Scarf?
Scarf B, yeah. Okay, we see the Excadrill, and it's gone.
Nothing.
Okay, so spikes go up, which is good because it could be Sash Drill.
I mean, still,
Is that Life Orb? That is Life Orb.
Jesus Christ, that does a lot.
Is that
Yeah.
Super Def?
It is mixed def.
Alright.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like that protect because you're not getting out of range either way. And you just let potential recover. That was a great sled run there. Miradon gets in though, and yeah, just Draco. Drift because Judgment doesn't kill. I think it has to be like super special attack invested for that to kill.
The switch probably predicting a switch into Excadrill here.
Yeah. Do you want to switch the viewpoint and then switch back just so the spikes
Oh
appears?
yeah.
Because the spikes glitch, yeah. Okay, so it is Dragon Knights. I didn't actually remember the set. I thought it could have been the Iron Defense Combine Stored Power. That looks Covert Cloak because it didn't burn, and it always burns. Yeah, that's Covert Cloak.
Yeah, and if it wasn't Covert Cloak, it probably wouldn't have stayed in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been Lum, and he just got lucky. But I don't know. Oh, it is Sword Stance. Okay. And it's dead.
They accomplished a great feast here.
Yeah, doing -10 to Gliscor, I think, after Poison Heal. That's pretty good. All things considered.
Yeah.
Yeah, this Miraidon, despite being at 18, is very powerful. Just wins the that does so much. I thought it did less than that. But yeah, he just scales, so Ho gets to come in for free unless it's like a wild charge. But at that point, King Gambit would win.
Yeah, for sure survives 5 at this point.
Yeah, the only out here is like last mon Demon Pharisee. But I did click rocks, or was that? But did I read that wrong? What did the Pharisees click?
Judgment
oh no, just Judgment Recover. Okay, yeah, so it could still be Iron Defense Combine, but I don't think it's fast enough anymore with King Gambit around.
Why is it called Demons?
That's just what you call like super setup mons. Like Demon Eternatus in SS is like the Cosmic Power one. So
Alright.
Okay, so it is. I don't think it can get through this fast enough because it doesn't do enough damage.
Yeah.
And then it still has to get through Ho-Oh at full health, clicking Sacred Fires.
Or, I mean, Cardon Cleave does... I mean, it could, but it crits.
Yeah, you get a lot of crit chances there, and then Ho-Oh, you can get Ho-Oh in Sun, and just clicking Sacred Fires too. Like it's if 5 recovers, it'll probably be down to like 3 by the time King Gambit's done with it. So yeah, odds are I think no crit even Ho-Oh wins that, but you have so many chances to crit.
Yeah.
That's the only downside of that set. It has to sit there forever, just doing stuff.
Yeah. Alright. Those were some pretty interesting 5 games. We saw a lot of variety in Mons, even though there were some questionable picks and plays at times, but I would say all in all, still pretty interesting to watch. Do you have anything else to add about these games?
No, not really. I missed the first couple, but
yeah,
they were probably okay.
Then we can look at the games of the next week and see what we can maybe expect from those, or from this week. It is semifinals now. The 4 teams that have moved on are the Dracovicious, the Dialgas, the Voyages, and the Drizzlers. Shuri versus Ray J. I don't really know either of these players too well. What kind of teams are they known for?
I think Shuri uses more like offbeat stuff generally. I haven't actually watched his games very much, but that's just what I associate him with. And then I kind of associate Reggie with like more standard, like bulky balance type stuff.
Alright.
Shuri is loading Glimmer HO and Reggie is just loading Crack, I think. I don't think they're stopping from loading some kind of bullshit in semifinals.
Yeah,
If-
didn't in Team Europe for World Cup. I saw like 10 bulldoze go scores from him. Yeah, my team's prep was sub DDNDM because bulldoze doesn't break. We didn't end up using it though because that set is garbage. But you know, it was funny. Reg is having a good tour. He hasn't played very much, but he's 2-0. And Shuri is having not as good a tour. He's 2-4. But he has good wins. So I don't really know who's exactly favored here.
Yeah. Then next up we have myJava versus Richard. I think that's also going to be a pretty interesting game. I believe both of them play pretty standard by the book teams, right?
Yeah. I don't think myJava builds. I haven't checked, but he could. And Richard, you know, he'll sometimes use like just full HO like quite a bit, but he knows how to build his balance and stuff. They have the same record this tour, which is pretty good. Both of them are positive. Normally, I just favor Richard here just because he's more experienced and really good in this tier. But myJava is putting on a good tournament, so could be close.
Alright. Ethan versus Jovan. I also don't really know either of these.
Jovan won seasonal, so that is something. So he's not like inexperienced in this tier. But also he loaded a team with I think Ainzcrad's 5 Sashmons this tournament. If I'm not
Oh,
mistaken.
yeah, I think we commented on that one.
Yeah, he did do that. So I don't know if I can trust his team building.
That's true.
And he's only played a couple weeks this tournament. I guess they just rotate because, you know, sometimes Entro's in best of 3, sometimes Richard's in best of 3, and then they tried other people as well. So they just like see who goes where, just off vibes, kind of. So I guess it's his turn to go back in SV. But I would favor E-Turn here, who's having a very good tour.
Yeah. And then next up, Mashing versus Taka. I believe both of them play usually offense.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't think I've watched any of their games aside from there was one where Taka got like last turn crit after getting crit on his other win con, and I think that's the only one I watched. But yeah, I haven't watched too much of their stuff. Mashing's having the better tournaments, but I would probably slightly favor Taka here. I assume Ainzcrad would say the same, but you know he has a bit of bias here, so these got to be my picks.
I keep myself silent before I say anything.
No, you gotta represent. Easy 3-0 in SV.
I mean, true though. I think we will win. I hope. It's just way too late for this.
Then Kate versus Skyview.
I'd favor Kate. She's just really good in SV. I mean, this isn't her best tour, but like by her standards, her best tour was like 6-0 in World Cup or something, and like 2-1 in actual World Cup, where she did play Skyview because we were all in the same pool, and Kate did win. So I would favor her here.
Yeah. And then lastly, Ilodin versus Darkshines. How do you say that word?
I've heard Shion and Shion. I say Shion. But I don't know which is correct. I don't know. Darshion is the LBN replacement, so he gets a bit of a debuff, just by association.
Alright.
I don't know how Elodin's. I have the sheet up. Okay, so Elodin is not having a very good tour. And Darkshion hasn't played SV. So this is an interesting one. I have no idea because Elodin is 1-5, but he is still a very good pilot overall, like just across any tier he plays, really. And then Darkshion's 1-1, but he's only played SS so far. If I had to give it to someone just based off this tournament, I'd probably say Darkshion, but I think it's a close enough game to where I'm not sure at all.
All right. I think that pretty much covers it. Thank you both for being here, and thank you for your insightful commentary on the matches, and also here at the end on the predictions for next week. I believe next up, if we find the time, we're maybe going to cover Sword and Shield of
Let's go.
of week 7, and from the semifinals. It is planned to cover the multi-gen matches, but that's also not set in stone. So we'll see about that. And with that, bye bye.
Bye bye.